Hello, hello. Welcome to another pod racing match. I am King Beandip. Joined with me today is Game Draco, and we have running Y Guy and Magius.
The guy who can't slide and Dry Guy versus the perennial underdog in Mageius.
Yep. So this will be an interesting match for sure. Dwy is known for, well, he dies very infrequently. Magius, not so much. So
Yeah.
yep. So this is in the group stage of the tournament. Um, so still pretty on in the tournament. So we'll see how they get on. Both players have already given ready, so we should be getting started very momentarily. All right, our first track is Zaga Challenge. It is one of the longer tracks in the game, and the track is notable for having a dozer that gets into a really nasty position depending on what pace you're on. And I'm not really sure how either of these players are on this track.
Me neither. Dry Guy using Ben and Mageius going with Bullseye. Oh, and Mageius' first death of the tournament. He's sometimes sadly has crashed so many times we often lose count.
Yeah. I wonder what controller he's using these days. Do you know?
I have no idea, but he was in chat just a few minutes before the match trying to practice a little bit.
Yeah. It was very interesting. The very first tournament we had 2 years ago, Magius participated, and he used a Super Nintendo controller, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, the Super Nintendo controller
Just-
that's a decade older than the game.
yeah, really interesting controller choice. And that certainly affected his driving. I wonder if he's still using it.
I think he switched to a controller that had an analog stick in the middle of last year's tourney because his movement is the cleanest I've ever seen him.
Uh-huh.
You have to boost or pull up or both. Ooh, Dry Guy
Ooh,
slams into the dozer track.
that was his first death, I believe. Just too bad. He was doing really well up until then. And yeah, we're working on getting audio here, hopefully.
And Dry just took another death. I have no idea what caused that crash.
Yeah, hopefully we can get game audio after this race. Or possibly even during. All right, so Dwight coming up towards the dozer on the second lap. This is the dozer that tends to be in a really bad position like it is right now, and we see that he took a death trying to avoid it. It can really throw you off if it's right there when you arrive. And since it lingers there for 10 seconds, it's very likely to be there. Next, Y has this very long straight up towards the market section. This is one of the few places in the game where Ben can completely max out his boost. Just barely. The longer you boost, the faster you go. So it's very beneficial to be able to hold long boosts like that instead of really short boosts frequently.
Especially
AG is
with
coming up for
Ben
a second lap. Yeah.
159, and especially with Ben because his booster's so long, if you can't use his boost, he isn't really good, which is why often Bullseye is used on the few tracks where Ben isn't the best because of his agility.
Yeah. Yeah, Ben has average agility in this game. Pod has the best. And so these two pods dominate the meta together.
And we got game audio.
Nice.
$449.032 for Dry Guy.
Very nice.
Geez, I'm not so sure how Mageius got onto the lower level because you have to be really deliberate to get on there.
I don't know. I have accidentally gotten down there before. There are a couple of little slits that you have to aim for on either side of the track in order to get to the lower level. AG is approaching the finish line. So both players now will get to ban 2 tracks. And these bans will be in effect for the remainder of the match.
Well, that's the lowest I've seen Mageius crash since I ever seen. Like total night and day. Last 2 tourneys, he crashed so much I lost count. Looks like
Right.
Mageius Bane Abyss.
Abyss is an evil track, by all means.
Yeah. Bunta Classic from Dry Guy.
Yeah, Boonta Classic is the track from the movie. It is one of the hardest tracks in the game. Yeah, so that one is banned. We won't be seeing it today.
Defros from Mageius.
Looks like on that last track, both Dwight and Mageius got a tournament PB. And Fire Mountain
Fire
Rally is
Mountain
our last
Rally
track
from
ban.
Drug Eye.
All right, so now from here on for each track, the loser of the previous race will ban a pod, then the winner will ban a track, and then the loser will pick a track and or use forces.
They're just banning Bullseye. Very smart. Why guy banning Brevine Gateway?
Let's see where we go. Oh, right, I'm supposed to be updating the score. Sorry, guys. Sometimes my brain works. Other times I confuse all of the tracks. Endoprime Centrum. It's an interesting choice. Mageius is asking about forces. So each player is able to 3 times during the race, or 3 times during the match, sorry, force skips or no upgrades or extra pod bans. And they can stack, they can use all of their forces at once if they want on a single race. But Mageius is opting to go with no forces on this track.
He wanted to force Mirror.
Yeah, it seems like a bunch of racing games from this era allowed you to run all of the tracks in mirror mode.
I know with Mario Kart that you unlock Mirror mode.
I know I never practice on mirror mode. It's so weird. So Dwight is of course opting to use Ben Quadinaris again, who is easily the best player on this track, the best pod on this track.
Yeah, and this track in Endoprime Centrum has more alternate routes than any other track in the game.
Yeah, this track is really unique among all the tracks in the game because it has this city section that is, completely unlike anything else. And not only that, but sorry, giving the countdown. Almost all of the tracks in this game, take place on different planets, and on each planet there are certain track elements shared between the tracks. And this track, but on Ando Prime, where there are 3 other tracks, does not share any elements with the other 3 tracks on that planet.
Yeah. And I honestly find this track, I feel like it's deceptively hard because if you don't know the right route, you're gonna lose.
Yeah, there's so many alternate routes. Let me see if I can count them. There's 3, 4, 6, 8. There are approximately 8 paths that you can choose during a single lap. No, 11. if you count everything. And for much of the track, there is a clearly fastest route, which Dwight is taking right here. Other parts of the track, it's almost a wash. Oh wait, no, it's not 11. I count 13 now. There are so many paths you can take. Crazy. Anyway, and you can see Mageius taking a different route. And Dwight now approaching the finish line. Or the start-finish line. 55.5 is a rather respectable lap 1. So there's this hairpin section right here that Dwight is in. That is one of the few places in the game where you have to brake for. Especially if you're using Ben, he can't turn hard enough to make those turns at speed. Meiji is opting for a left route here, which is not optimal. And then right here, he has 3 routes to take. He takes one of the lower routes, and looks like he was trying to climb back up to where he was supposed to be, but didn't make it. Anyway, so he's on this lower route where he's going across on the top of the city. And down the ramp here into the main city section. Dwight taking some pretty serious bonks in the hairpins, but of course he still has a very significant lead, so that's not a big deal unless he was, trying to go for a really good time or something.
Mageius enters the final lap almost as Dry Guy finishes the final.
Yeah, taking the wrong route on this track costs a lot of time. And here we see Mageius doing it again. I don't know if he knows the fastest route, actually. Mageius is a player. Sorry, go ahead.
I also know, too, he's fond of taking more scenic routes. He's likes to show off the game and put these very long, all these tracks that are very colorful.
Mageius also runs a variety of games. This is only one of them. And so he certainly doesn't have a really in-depth knowledge of the game like a lot of the other players in the tournament have. And here he comes across the finish line.
Before 9.102. You're just being bullseye again.
Once again, both players getting a tournament best, a personal tournament best. And we are comparing that against past tournaments as well, which both players have participated in.
Roy Guy bang Grandpa and Gateway again.
It looks like the players are wanting to play the next track in mirror mode. And I don't know why he doesn't have that option available to him.
I know on console the code is RR the Beast, but I'm not so sure for the PC.
And when you're in time attack mode, it shouldn't require a code, it should just be an option. Huh, that is really unfortunate. Oh. So in order to access mirror mode, you have to complete all of the tracks in tournament mode. And Dwight has not finished Abyss on his profile, so he can't access it. That's really too bad, though, that we have two players willing to do mirror mode, but one of them can't access it at the moment. Also, this screen that Dwight's looking at now, where Abyss is the only track not completed, so many players have a save file just like that. They've completed every track except Abyss, but it's too frustrating to do. Anyway,
Yeah.
so we are going to Executioner. Let's give them a minute, make sure they're both completely ready before giving the countdown. They've been doing lots of menuing here, trying to figure things out. Yeah, when I was a kid playing this game on Dreamcast, I'd play every game except Abyss, and then get to that track and do like 10 attempts on it in order to win.
Right.
Whereas I would win all the other tracks almost always the first try.
Very similar to me growing up with the 64 version, because it took me like maybe a year or two to fully complete that track at first.
All right, so countdown has been given. We should be starting very shortly. So Executioner is a rather challenging track. It has, especially in terms of obstacles, it has a variety of obstacles that really trip players up much of the time, including two anti-gravity tube sections, or 3 depending on which route you take.
And the route is different from fully upgrade to no upgrades.
Yeah, this is true. Our players are running with upgrades, so they should be using the upgrades route. There's this long straight here Dwai is taking to the left here that is only faster if you have an extremely fast pod-like Ben and fully upgraded. Mageius finds himself on the slower route, going through this extra anti-gravity tube here.
Jeez, I'm surprised. I'm surprised Dry Guy boosted in there that aggressively. That is a really dangerous tube to boost in.
And I am equally surprised that Meiji has boosted out, or died on his way out of that first tube. That is an extremely rare place to die.
Like on the tube, like exiting the tube, because usually I've noticed we can go over.
Yeah, he died exiting the tube on the no upgrades route.
That is strange, because I know if you go overzealous with the boost in that jump, you can just slam into the ground and crash. And
so Dwai is on pace roughly for a 4-minute run, which is very quick on this track.
Yeah. I will note that the upgrade route you can take with pretty decent consistency with no upgrade Bulls, Ben, or Mars. It's slower, but it's much safer.
Yeah, for sure.
But without upgrades, but basically that red carpet path only becomes faster viable if you have a pod that boosts for a long time and has a very strong boost rush, which means the only ones who really can work with it are Ben, Bulls, and Mars.
So here Dwai going through the final tube of this lap. Dwai going through the first tube. And it looks like he's... yeah, there he died again on the exit. That was very strange.
No, that was the overzealous thing. He was boosting too fast, didn't kill his speed in time, and just crashed into the ground.
It looks like Mageius is really trying to, he's prioritizing getting every boost that he can. And that's really hurting him because he's boosting in sections where he should be focused on driving clean. And Dwai also boosting through this tube, which is not optimal because the tube is fast terrain, meaning it speeds up your pod as you go through it. And if you boost, you don't take full advantage of that fact.
Yeah. Yeah, you should use the tubes, both with and without upgrades, to cool down, apart from this final tube on the final lap where you should just floor it.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to finish the race at max heat, which means that you've used all of your boost before the end of the run, and coming in just barely into 4 minutes. Very nice. And Mageius once again taking the no upgrades route.
And it's actually faster with most pods with upgrades too. I think it's because you're better off doing that with a pod that heats up really quick, like Bullseye.
Uh-huh. Ooh, he survived the landing this time, but slammed into the wall. Boost. Okay. He cut his boost, but not early enough.
The safest way to enter that tube is to slam hard on the brakes.
Yeah, it is a really strange tube to enter. You have this 90-degree downward turn.
Yeah, because...
And a lot of pods do not handle that transition well.
Especially Ben, because he is so sluggish with handling.
Okay, so once again, it is Mageius' turn to ban a pod. And this match is a best of 9, which means first to 5 points wins the match.
Once again, the bans are Bullseye Navarre and Gravine Gateway.
Both of those bans are very popular.
Well, basically, if you hear someone ban Bullseye, it's usually a sign someone's going to do something nefarious with Gravine Gateway or Fire Mountain Rally.
Yep, for sure. Or also Boonta Classic, but Boonta Classic has already been banned.
Yeah, but you could use many more pods on Boonta Classic compared to Gravine and Fire Mountain. And looks like Mageius threw down the gauntlet. We're going to the gauntlet. Just waiting on to see if we have forces from Mageius. No forces, just regular gauntlet. Really hope Mageius does better than he did in qualifying here, because we gave him the penalty time because he exceeded it in qualifying.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah, the penalty time on this track in the qualifying session was 7 minutes 30 seconds, and Mageius failed to beat that time. So yeah, hopefully he will be doing better here. So this next track is another track on Ubu 4, of which there are 3. This is the longest track in the game by distance, and very nearly the longest track in the game in terms of time. This has a lot of really long straights, with jumps and off-roads and tubes and various obstacles in between.
Well, Mageius has trained us to the inspect vehicle, which we don't usually see.
Yep, just showing off his pod.
I actually told Lightning Pipe there was an audio there that he put as not being in it, but I know it was there, and it was Chuba, pit droid. And
This game has so many fantastic sound clips. I used Watto singing as my ringtone on my phone, and Pit Droids is my text notification. It's so fun. Every time someone hears a text come in on my phone, they assume it's a dolphin chirping. And that really makes me wonder if that's where they got the Pit Droid sound effect from.
yeah, the pit droids are even funnier in the garage section to the sequel game in Racer Revenge, because if you stay
Oh,
in
are they?
that Watto's garage for long enough, you will see a pit droid fall from the ceiling.
That's fantastic.
And this track is extremely long. Even with Ben, the record is just under 5 minutes at around 4:58.
Yep. So here Dwight is approaching the first jump. He should be going straight and then getting a boost here. He just barely missed the boost coming off the jump, and so he's having to take some of this off-road slow.
This off-road shortcut is the most critical part of the speed run, because you need to boost all the way down it, or else it just kills your run.
We see Mageius did not take the jump. He followed the track around the corner, which adds a significant, well, not a really significant amount of time to the run, but it also allows him to get hit by those plumes of fire, which he did.
Yeah, those asteroids, you can just dodge them if you stay out of the paved part. Go off-road, they won't hit you at all.
Are they asteroids? I always assumed it was the prison warden, like, shooting at you or something.
No, if you read the lore, they hosted this race during the time it's in a meteor shower, and asteroids will land onto the surface, and that portion of the gauntlet is the only part of this crace that's unshielded, and those plumes of fire are supposed to be asteroid strikes.
Well, that's interesting. Mageius now has this long, slow climb up towards the finish line. This is a really narrow corridor and can really throw players off. Learning to boost down it is not trivial. And here Mageius is entering the very short anti-gravity tube on this track.
It is so short, but it's so terrifying and dangerous.
Uh-huh.
and as someone who's done nothing but the Nintendo 64 version, which is stuck at a 24 frames per second, which is the lowest you can go. And at that frame rate, the tubes are just death traps.
It is also worth noting here that Dwight participated in our first tournament, right?
Yeah, he participated in 2019.
Yeah, so in that tournament, he never used slide. This game has a drift mechanic where you hold a button, and it basically allows you to build up turn rate before you get to a turn. Anyway, in our first tournament, he did really well. Actually, he placed really well in the tournament, but he never used slide. And so it's interesting to see now that occasionally you can see him sliding into turns, if you look carefully. He's still on really high traction though, so it's pretty subtle.
And sliding's probably the most critical mechanic in this game because you're on slide at least more than half the time.
Yeah. Yeah, sliding through turns really helps you, well, it makes it possible to take turns at full speed that you would not be able to otherwise, and especially while boosting.
And also with a particularly stiff pod like Ben especially.
Mm-hmm.
Because sliding doesn't really change much agility with a really agile pod like Bullseye or Neva, but with a really sluggish training pod, oh, it's significant.
Yeah, for sure. So Dwight, in the last couple of straights before the finish line, he is just about to lap Mageius here.
And he just lapped him!
Oh man.
Oh, crashes in the tube. Both crashed in the tube. Yep. He lapped him.
The 524, which is not too bad. Except that he got, I believe, 3 deaths to get there. I think he died in the tube every lap.
Yeah, I like to say this track is so easy and then the tube just throws everything off.
Yeah. Of all the anti-gravity tubes in this game, I believe it's fair to say that the gauntlet tube is the hardest, while also being the shortest. It is really difficult to learn a pattern that you can use to get through the tube safely.
It also has the hardest entry because they put that faster than frame rate rotating gate at the start of it, and usually you tilt, but tilting in those tubes, particularly at low frame rates, is one of the worst things you can do in this game.
Yep. So if you tilt to go through the door, then you'll immediately enter the tube, the hardest tube in the game, spinning, which makes it completely impossible to navigate. And so yeah, just everything about that tube is really hard. And especially the final rock in it, which is smack dab in the middle of your path and really large and difficult to get around.
I also think, too, the AI won't clear the rocks for you like they do on Executioner or Vengeance either.
Yeah, I think Gascana will sometimes clear one of the rocks. But, yeah, it's just not very many ways to make it better.
And he's looking like he's going to exceed the penalty time yet again.
Yep. Yeah, he has 5 seconds to reach the finish line, and that is decidedly impossible.
I think this is actually worse than qualifying.
I don't know how... I have no idea what his time was in qualifying.
Qualifying was like 7:40 or something, then he's gonna do over 8 minutes, and I remember him pulling under 8 minutes in qualifying.
Uh-huh. I did check his performance in previous years. Let me see if I can find that again. His best time from a previous tournament on this track was 8:35, so he will be beating that. So that's something.
14! Almost a full minute after the penalty time we assigned.
Yep.
Oh, that's awful. That Mageius just said in chat, that was horrible for me. Okay, Mageius is banning Ben Quatanaros this time. And Mageius looks like he's also in his controller settings, which I know he did a ton. And he's still banning Graphite Gateway, which is probably smart because Mageius is fond of picking that track.
Yeah, he is.
It's
It
like,
should be noted that every time we ask Magius about his track picks and why he does certain things and why he uses the controller he does, um, consistently he's like, I just have a lot of fun with this game and want to show it off whenever I can. And so, yeah, he goes into this tournament with I think it's fair to say he doesn't have much of a competitive spirit in this game. He's mostly here for the fun of the game, which I can definitely respect.
okay, going to Inferno with no Ben. He says, I have no clue the best option here. His best option was Ben. And
Inferno is a shorter track, but one of the most technical tracks in the game. And you race through a volcano the entire time.
yeah.
It looks like Magius will not be using any forces. Oh wait. Mm, I think
Bullseye?
he misunderstands here. Okay, so yeah, Magius wanted to force both players to use Bullseye, which technically he can't do, but Dwyer agreed to do it anyway. So looks like we have a Bullseye mirror.
Oh, he's going for the extra pod ban, he meant. And Ben and Bullseye?
Oh. Okay, I'm confused.
I had a feeling that's what he was saying. I thought he was banning Bullseye. And okay, in this situation, I'd probably go with Mars Glow or Elon Mack.
Yeah, removing Ben and Bullseye is really interesting on this track. Bulls is normally the second fastest pod after Ben, but using him here is brutally difficult. Both Mars and Mahonic and Elan Mac are very strong choices after Ben and Bullseye are gone. So we'll see if either of them use one of those three pods.
Yeah. Because this also looks like Dry Guy might be using Elon Mack. And for some reason in the tournament, Elon Mack on Inferno has always been an upset win. Because I remember last year, I think you were racing against Metallica, and you beat him using Elon Mac where you use Mars, and the same thing happened with Mike versus Ace in the semifinal match of the tourney in 2019.
Yeah. Normally Mahonic is faster than Elan, but I actually discovered very recently that if the track is short enough, and this one is, Elan is a little faster than Mahonic. Though I'm still not sure that makes him a great pick, because he is a little bit less agile, but he is able to hold his boost longer, which is good. So I don't know. It's kind of complicated. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, we often don't think of Elan being as a go-to pod after Ben is banned. But he does certainly work really well on this track.
And that's a pick you don't usually see. Mageius going with Toy Dampener.
Yeah, Toy is sometimes used um, on any percent runs of this game, because you unlock him after the first track. But after that, he basically becomes useless in all other contexts because his boost is simply not powerful enough for him to keep up with the faster pods.
He's only used pretty much for any percent, which is the Galactic Circuit, without upgrades. Because in the no upgrade run of that circuit track, Toy is by far the fastest by a wide margin of what's available to you.
Uh-huh. Dwight with the 57 lap one. Um, a really fast, yeah, a quite fast lap one would be 50 seconds. So he is several seconds off of that pace.
He took
It
a
looks like he
crash
is
too.
struggling to. Yeah, and it looks like he's struggling to use all of the boost that he should be on the straights. So he is underheating very badly right now.
Yeah.
And these turns you're not able to use your boost. And so you want to use all of the time you can there to cool.
Yeah.
But he's cooled off too much, he should be boosting more.
Falls right into the lava.
Mageius is neither cooling off nor boosting. That can happen in a few places in this game, that's one of them. And back into the lava.
I think we have to disqualify Mageius because he's on 2 laps, not 3.
Oh, yes he is. Well, despite that, I think he's going to lose anyway, because Dwight is about to lap him.
Yes. Yeah. Here it comes. He's gonna lap him now.
Yeah, Dwight is moments away from lapping Mageius. There it is. So, well, that's interesting.
I don't think we've never had a match thrown off because of that.
That is really funky.
And I think we have to throw out the Mageius one because of that.
Um, let's see here. I'm not sure whether we should call the rematch. Well, Mageius says GG's. And I think it is, very clear to see that he would have lost even if he had gone with 3 laps. So I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
This is kind of a funky situation, though.
Could be a forfeit.
Okie doke. Oh, in that case, that was that was match point, right? Making sure I'm not losing
That
counter
was
track.
match point, so
That
we
was
can end the
match point.
match
All right.
here.
All right. Let's see if we can get our runners in for a short interview. Hello, Dwight.
Hi.
And Mageius.
Are you there, Mageius?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry. Again, having to use my phone as well.
Kind of too bad to see you were accidentally on 2 laps. Which
yeah, I know.
I'm pretty
I
sure
know.
you're not the only one that has happened to.
Yeah, that's happened once before.
At least I've improved some over the years.
Uh-huh. You beat your previous gauntlet tournament best by 21 seconds.
Not
Really?
Yep.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, and every track you raced on, you beat your previous times.
As I said, I've been improving where I can. I don't get as much time as I would like to practice, but at least I've improved some.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What pods were you using, by the way? You kept on banning Bullseye.
Yeah, I was using Ben.
You were using Ben. Okay.
Yeah, my thing is I've got to find a solid, just like good, actual sensitivity plus, dead zone, because I'm using legitimately the, roll and turns on the same analog stick, so just got to find that perfect balance for those two, and it's a pain because, well, one, if it's too sensitive, which works for Bullseye, for Ben, it makes Bullseye hard as hell to control. And if it's too, and if you go towards Bullseye, it makes Ben horrible for turning.
What
controller are you using?
Is that what are you using? A 64 controller or something like that?
Switch Pro controller.
Okay.
But the Pro controller has 2 analog sticks.
What? You're wondering why I have the roll on the other one? Because I'm more used to doing.
It sounded like you had them both on the same stick.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's
if you're
certainly
watching the stream right now, see how my turns are, everybody?
that is certainly an unconventional controller setup.
It works a lot better for me since I'm used to doing a lot of flight style games
Yeah,
and
fair
stuff
enough.
like that. So
Fair enough.
It's like I just have to balance it out, but it's like finding that perfect thing. However, it does allow for some tighter turns.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, you do what works for you, I guess.
Speaking of controls, Dwight, I noticed that you're starting to use slide now.
Yes, only a little bit. You probably noticed I'm crashing more too.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
We're all improving.
Those things kind of go hand in hand.
Yes, they do.
Hopefully the viewers enjoyed it at the very least.
Yeah, I was wondering if you guys had any tips for avoiding the UVU tube rocks on Gauntlet.
Well, your traction is too high.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, you need to drop either your traction or your frame rate. Those rocks are not avoidable at 60 frames per second on max traction.
Yeah, that would explain it.
Yep. Yeah, the higher your traction, the more you will stick to the center of the tube.
Oh, I did not know that.
Neither did I. I mean, normally I'll use someone like Slide or, Bullseye, but hey.
Yep.
And
So
I also note too that at super high traction, super high frame rates, you crash into the wrong asteroid, you'll get soft locked into it at the frame rate and traction.
Oh, I've definitely had that before, just not recently.
I've had that last year with one of the bulldozers.
Oh yes, I remember that.
As I said, I've been slowly and surely improving each year on that one. Which
Yeah,
is a good thing.
speaking of which, both of you, on every track that you went to, both of you beat your previous tournament times.
Oh, that's
Nice.
amazing.
So
Congrats,
that was
I
really
guess.
good to see.
I don't think I beat it on Ando Prime Centrum.
Endo Prime Centrum.
Yeah.
I might
According
have,
to
but,
my spreadsheet, you did.
Oh, amazing.
yeah, I've got to submit a bunch of runs at some point, but oh yeah, I did. What do you know? What do you know
Oh
on
no,
that one?
that's not right. No, you lost to it by 2 seconds.
Yeah, that sounds more accurate.
Either way, I need to actually submit some runs to the leaderboard at some point, but I sort of don't want to submit horrible ones.
Oh, I see what happened. I had your name entered incorrectly on the other sheet.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
take back what I said, Dwight. All of your runs except for execution are beaten by previous tournaments.
Awesome.
Well, hey, GG's still for executioner on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I also need to figure out a strat for doing the bulldozer or the crane on Zaga challenge on laps 2 and 3.
Yeah,
Well-
the best strat is go really fast.
That or just literally
The
try to
second
take
best
a turn
strat
around it.
is brake hard.
You could also deliberately stay in the cutscene for a little bit longer to make timing more optimal.
Does that work?
Wait.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Really?
Yeah. So, well, it's not very reliable on Zaga. It is really good to do on Spice Mine.
Learn something new every day.
Yep.
Yeah. And that timing thing you can mess with works on Zaga, Spice-Man Run, and also Bunta Classic with the Sandcrawler.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Good to
All right.
know.
Well, I think we should probably start wrapping this up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our next match is coming up. Well, our next match is tomorrow at 2:30 Eastern Time. I will be going up against Zolasalar.
Good luck.
I'm really excited about that. He is the first player I had a tournament match against 2 years ago.
So,
And
rubber match,
he
I
is-
guess?
Yep.
Not just any rematch. He's a really solid player, too.
Yeah,
He's
Zolasalar
improved.
Yeah,
Hmm.
he's tough.
Yeah, this is probably going to be one of the first really contested matches of the group stage because I don't know who's going to win tomorrow because he has improved that much.
Nice.
Yeah, and then the next day on Thursday we have another match between Zolasalar and Belios, and then Belios will be going again on Friday, and then some more matches on Saturday and Sunday. So,
Yeah, I still have to schedule one of mine, but yeah.
yep.
Still.
So, stay tuned, check the schedule. There will be plenty of more pod racing coming up.
Yeah.
Thank you and GG's to our runners,
Yeah.
Dwight and Mageius.
And
GG
thank you for-
Mageius.
And thank you for staying up this late. I know this is late for almost everyone at this time, so
Not for me.
Thank you for
it's
staying
like
up.
9.
yeah, but if you're in Europe, it's midnight.
Yeah. For all of our European viewers out there, go get some rest.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
see you guys tomorrow at 2:30.
All right. Yeah, good luck, King Green.
Thanks.
Good luck.
Take care. Good luck, everyone. May the force be with you.
Yep.